What's the most awkward thing that's happened at a sleepover? Story 1. Our entire friend group and my poor friend Baxter, that seems like a fun name, watched as my science teacher got a BJ from Baxter's single mom in a hot tub from the window. We were 13. There are some things you can't unsee. Story 2. About 11 years ago, sleepover with girls and boys. All lights are out for about 10 minutes. We have all settled down and gotten silent for sleeping. Then we hear a grown male voice clearly enunciate the word what. Now, let me be clear. This was not a child's voice. This was like hearing James Earl Jones say what. There was about a 10-second silence, and then one of the girls says, "Who said that?" Silence. Then one of the boys starts laughing uncontrollably. We turn the lights on, and he is laughing so hard that he's crying. Here we are all freaking out about some strange man in our room while we sleep, and he's pissing himself laughing. He finally calms down enough to tell us that it wasn't a person who asked what. He farted the word. His fart sounded exactly like the word what. We all cracked up. To this day, everyone from that party still answers phone calls from each other with what. Story 3. When I was 6, I watched Jurassic Park at a friend's house one night. Got so scared I demanded my mom to come pick me up and take me home. So I said I was sick. My mother did not believe me. So I shit my pants in my friend's living room on accident so she would have to come get me. I didn't really go over to my friend's house that much after that. Fear can make a child crazy, especially fear of velociraptors. Story 4. I was in Boy Scout camp. The older kids were dicks. While my first weekend trip, my dad loaded me up on goodies to share. I fell asleep and the older kids raided my bag and took just about everything. So it sucked, but whatever. I went home and tell my dad, and he was pissed but really composed, which was odd for my Irish longshoreman dad. So next month is my next trip, and my dad made a big batch of brownies but told me not to eat any or share with my friends. He told me to leave them in my bag like I did last time. Sure enough, I woke up and they were gone, and 3 kids were shitting themselves like crazy. Yup, my popsicle laxed the brownies. Story 5. I once slept over at a friend's house. He was a bit older than me. This difference was where he had discovered masturbation, whereas I had not. Anyway, I heard his bed furiously rocking back and forth. I asked him what he was doing. He said he was doing push-ups. It was dark, so I took him for his word. So then I asked if I could do push-ups with him. Years later, it all dawned on me. Story 6. Finally invited to a sleepover at a popular girl's house, started my period and bled all over my PJs, which I borrowed from her, and her sheets. Story 7. One time I was over at a friend's house for his 11th birthday. It was myself, the birthday boy, and 3 other guys. We all slept in our sleeping bags in the basement. At around 5 a.m., we all awake to find Jake yelling at the birthday boy Derek. The reason? Derek thought it was funny to take a piss on Jake's face while he was sleeping, and Jake freaked out. Jake walked out right after that, while the rest of us stayed up and called our parents around 7. I went home around 8, and in that time, Derek was still trying to play it off as funny. Derek lost for friends that night. Story 8. Me and my friend slept in his mom's bedroom on the floor because she liked company since her husband passed away a few weeks before. Apparently, when my mom came to pick me up the next day, my friend's mom said I climbed into bed with her. I had no idea, classic case of sleepwalking. Story 9. Friend's mom walked downstairs to find 8 6th grade boys huddled around the TV watching porn. We instantly pretended to be asleep, and nothing was ever said after that. I still think of it every time I see her. Story 10. Took the most wholesomely fulfilling shit in my friend's bathroom, and ended up flooding the bathroom at 2 a.m. The parents had to clean up the entire mess. It was an awkward breakfast the next morning. Story 11. I was about 10, sleeping over with a group of pals, including my buddy's little brother who was around 6. We finished up a few rousing games of Donkey Kong 64 and Hydro Thunder and all went to bed. Woke up to find the little brother standing ominously above me butt-ass naked except for a pair of Christmas-themed tube socks on his hands and arms and peeing into my half-open sleeping bag. No more sleepovers at Ryan's house. Story 12. Not really a sleepover, I was 23 at the time and drove to California to stay on a buddy's couch. I drank a bunch of beer after the long drive and passed out, woke up having pissed myself on his couch. It is about 5 a.m. I grab a towel and lay on it on the couch, resigning myself to being the guy who pissed on the couch for the duration of my stay. By some miracle, the towel absorbed most of it. Him and his roommates woke up around 9 a.m., and nobody knew a thing. Edit, except his cat. His cat knew. Story 13. My friend in high school had the house where all of our friends would play Smash Brothers tournaments until our eyes bled, then go to sleep in his massive RV parked outside. I wasn't, and still am not, a morning person, so I'd usually be the last one out of the RV. One night, I fall asleep on the pull-out bed in my jeans and all, with just a blanket covering me. As I wake up, I'm still in that half-awake, half-asleep haze, and I feel something rustling in my nether regions. I figure it's just morning wood, and go back to sleep. Then it happens. I feel it again, wake up for real this time, and my dick is outside of my zipper. Pants still on, blanket still covering, and as I look over, my friend is laying next to me, he and I being the only two in the RV, staring directly at the ceiling. I tried to give him the benefit of the doubt, and prayed he didn't just pull my penis out of my pants while I was asleep, so I packed up and headed home. Lo and behold, an hour later I get a text saying he was so sorry, he didn't know what he was thinking. Yeah man. You pulled my dick out of my pants while I was sleeping. I'm gonna need a little space. Update, I've lost contact over the years after he went to a different college, but he's now in a happy relationship after he came out a year or two ago. Story 14. I was sleeping over at my cousin's house. We stayed up and snuck out into the living room to watch Cinemax. It was after midnight, and back in those days, that was when all the titty flicks came on. One came on that my cousin was really into. He started touching his raging erection in his pajama pants, and then he let out a blood-curdling scream. Somehow he ruptured a vein or something in his peen. We had to go wake up his mom. She looked at it and decided we had to go to the emergency room. Our whole family still makes fun of him for that until this day when we get together. Story 15. I was 10 I think, and it was the first time I stayed over at this kid's house. Well, we go to sleep at like 2 or 3 a.m. and all seemed well. Then suddenly his drunk grandfather charges in the room and gets the poor kid in a headlock and drags him to the floor. Oh, and he was naked. I guess he suffered from PTSD or something. I kind of ignored the wild event while it was happening, and did not acknowledge it the next morning. I did not go back again. Please subscribe for more stories daily. Peace.